Welcome to ProPractice, your guide to piano mastery. I'm Josh Wright, and today's video is the 11th tutorial in the ProPractice Technique Series, where together we will be going over all the scales, arpeggios, triads and inversions, and seventh chords and inversions in each key. Today's video will be focusing on the key of B flat, so we will go through B flat major and B flat minor harmonic scales. We'll be going over B flat major and B flat minor arpeggios, and then we will be going over major, minor, diminished, and augmented triads in the key of B flat, as well as major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, half-diminished 7, and fully diminished 7 chords and inversions in the key of B flat as well. As with all of these videos, we will be going over some unique practice methods, and I will explain those shortly after we introduce B flat major scale and the fingering that we should be using. So we'll just be going over basics to start with here. So in the left hand, very basic fingering, 3-2-1, 4-3-2-1. And as I've mentioned in many other videos, always focus on where the 4 goes, and then you'll know the fingering for the rest of the scale, because 4 only comes once per octave. So 3-2-1, 4-3-2-1. Okay, you can reference all the previous videos in this series to know how to move effectively, other methods to get things smooth with clean releases. We're getting pretty far and advanced in this series, and today's unique practice method will definitely be more advanced. Let's take a look at the right hand first. Hannon has you start with a 2 here, 2-1, just out of convenience. If you want to be more consistent, start with a 4, because 4s come on B flats throughout this scale. So 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I'll probably just start with a 2 out of convenience, but you do what you're most comfortable with. Some people like the consistency with fingering. Others like that little extra convenience of just crossing from a 2 to a 1 rather than a 4 to a 1. 4 to a 1 puts you in a little bit more of an angle than the 2 to the 1 does. All right, here we go. Hands together. All right, the unique practice methods that we're going to be going over just for scales and arpeggios. I have another unique practice method for chords that I haven't taught yet in this series that we'll be going over once we get to those triads and seventh chords. But for the scales and arpeggios, we're going to be going over 5, 7, and 9 rhythms. When I originally filmed this series back in 2014, I did a separate video for each of these. I'm condensing it into one video here because we had so many more concepts to go over than I did in that original filming of this series. So that just shows you how important 5, 7, and 9 rhythms are, that they each got their own video in the original series. They're just as important now. I just had more stuff to explain, so I'm condensing it into this single video. These were originally taught to me by Elizabeth Schumann, who was studying at the time with Sergei Babayan. And Sergei Babayan, who I later went on to do some private studies with, had us do these quite often, and he would even have us do 11 and 13 and 15 rhythms. I remember that was really brutal. We're just going to start with a 5 rhythm. In music, generally we're doing groups of 2 or groups of 4. Sometimes we'll do groups of 3. Very seldom do we do groups of 5. So this exercise, and it's just an exercise, will make this very uncomfortable for you, and that's on purpose, because this is going to make things so awkward that when you put it back into normal context, which we'll be doing because we've been moving up the metronome throughout this series from 60 all the way to 160. Today we're doing 145, so we're officially in fast territory here. It's going to make the normal playing of the scale much easier after you do these 5 rhythms. I'm going to demonstrate very slowly to begin with, and then I'll show you how I do variations on each of these 5 rhythms. And when we get to the B flat minor scale, we'll do variations on 7 and 9 rhythms. But I want to focus on 5 rhythms for this B flat major scale. Here we go. We're going to just do groups of 5. You can do a slight accent on the last note. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Now, we have to do this in at least as fast as a tempo as you want your full tempo to be when you just are playing it smooth. And I actually like to go a little bit faster. So if we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, we've got to be going at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have to go at least that fast. Maybe we'll go a little faster. Like that. Let's simulate a mistake here. Let's say that it goes really bad on this group like that. You can replay that group as many times as you need to make sure you have speed and perfect alignment between the hands. Here we go. Keep moving. All right, a few beginner tips. If you're new to this, you have to kind of learn how to do 5 groups of 5. So if you have to, for a day or two, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, slowly before you can do this comfortably. That's normal. So that's my first beginner tip. My second beginner tip is to wait a long time between groups. So you can kind of check the fingering. Okay, what am I doing? I'm going to cross over to this 3 on this B flat here. Okay, that felt good. Now you might ask, why would we accent? Why would we not just go like that? You totally can do that, but as we saw in the last video, accenting certain notes in an organized way can actually help you get rid of accents. And what I'm about to show you, variations on this 5 rhythm, will help you get rid of all the accents by accenting the last note, because you're going to be accenting different notes in each variation that I'm about to show you. So with a normal 5 rhythm, you might get really good at this first set. You might go, oh, I've got this in the bag. This is easy, okay? But then if I have you start from the second note, can you do 5 rhythms again? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, can you do that? Can you do it from the third note? And you're going to find that the different variations of this, there might be a variation that's really hard. So let's try the third one. I might mess up. By the way, I didn't sit and practice every one of these variations before I recorded this. That is not out of laziness. I wanted to show you how these are difficult in real time and how I would work them out. So if we make some mistakes here. Okay, so I made a mistake right there. That was not good. So let's see, that was our group. So I've got to start here with a 1 here and a 2 in the left. That's another beginner tip. Make sure that you always write in all the fingering for your scale. So if you mess up on a particular note, you know exactly what finger that you need to start on. Those get kind of hard up here because your left hand, again, is kind of crossing over your body. So I'm really listening carefully for perfect alignment. And I can wait a long time between groups if I need to. Again, it's just what's contained in the group that matters. You don't have to go da-la-lum, ba-la-lum, ba-la-lum. You don't have to be like keeping this fast beat between the groups. It's just within the group. So we'll try it from the 4th note here. So get my fingering right. And so forth. And then you'd also do it from the 5th note. Whoops, let's try that again. 5. That wasn't together. Okay, and so forth. And you practice until you can really get light on those notes. They don't have to be staccato, but light touch. You don't want really loud touch. Once you've done that, I think once you go to put this back together, you're going to notice a few things. You're going to notice that, first of all, it's way easier than stopping at all these random places. That's part of the difficulty. It's not just a rhythmic difficulty of like, hey, 5s are awkward, but can you stop? Because a lot of students will get going, and then they'll go, oh, I didn't stop at 5. Can you stop right away? It's like a sports car. A really nice sports car not only can accelerate really quickly, but it can stop. So sometimes people talk about these really fancy sports cars like Ferraris or Bugattis or McLarens, and the thing that's always surprising is they'll say, aren't those nice brakes on that car? Like, the brakes are amazing. And you're thinking, well, I want to talk about the engine because that's, it's going fast. But to be able to stop quickly is just as important as being able to accelerate quickly. The same thing goes for these rhythms. Can you stop on a dime? And can your hands stop and be exactly together? That's what we're targeting with this. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, we're moving from 60 all the way to 160 in this series, 145. That's fast. Just a little note, when I was doing my bachelor's degree, part of our curriculum was something called keyboard skills. I was able to test out of it, luckily, but as a piano major, you had to have a certain amount of skills, and you had to play all your scales at 144, 4 notes per click. Now, to professional pianists, that's not that fast, but to be able to play every single scale at 144 was difficult for quite a few students. So, and I even had to work up certain scales that I was like, I'm not as comfortable with this. Like, yeah, C major, B major, A major, these were easy, but some of these harmonic minor scales got a little bit more tricky. Like F sharp minor didn't feel that comfortable for my wife. I remember her telling me that. For me, it was B minor harmonic that didn't feel quite as natural to my hands. So everybody's going to have different weaknesses. Just realize that. But we're just working up through this series. Again, if you can't go 145 by this 11th video, it's fine. Just stay at a slow tempo and just go back through this series again. And each time you go through, say, oh, my goal by the end of this series is to get to 100 for 4 notes per click. And then I'll do it again in 6 months, and I'll try to do 120. And then I'll take a break for a little while, and then maybe I'll revisit the series and try to do 140 and so forth. So we're just working up gradually. Here we go. We'll do the 1, 2, 3, 4 method. So. All right, moving on to B flat minor harmonic.